So W's in the chat. W's in the chat. W's in the chat. I do have sound. Welcome to the One Piece chapter. What's this chapter? This is chapter 1056. That's an insane number to even say. 1056. That's insane. So, you guys, today we're going to be having one of the yo Oratile, how are you? G? Welcome to the One Piece 156 chapter review, dog. This was a very great chapter, especially for getting off the serious vibes, because One Piece has been serious for a very, very long time that you wouldn't find comedy here and there, So I'm really happy to see a bit of comedy here and there, and especially in this chapter when it comes to Roger and Scopper Gaban, they didn't disappoint me. And meet two new baddies from the One Piece world. Trust me. In fact, not baddies, a crew of baddies. The Kucha pirates were the greatest thing to ever come out of One Piece, and they still are. But finding out that the same ship that used to sail 1,000 years ago, or not even 1,000 years, but 20 years ago, it's still sailing with Boa Hancock and the other Kucha pirates. That's just insane. So we just saw Roger and his weakest, No one could have expected this, and I'm really happy to be here to divulge in this. And then we have Rocksteady back to confuse us again. Rocksteady back is a gift that keeps on giving. I'll just say that because Rox has performed serious miracles, you guys. I don't know if you truly understand this, because if we need 2 devil fruits and Blackbeard already has eaten 2 devil fruit, what the heck is going on? So a lot of things happening. So as a Sanji fan, I will have to say that we are up in this chapter, but this chapter had to dial things down a bit because we even saw a funny scene from the Rocks Pirates. That was dope. Like, I knew that Kaido was ready to fight Rocksteady back then and there. Like, that scene was really dope, and seeing Kaido with the gang is just something great, So I think that Kaido might be dead after this, Like, hoping that Kaido and Big Mama are alive right now is really quite a hard thing to do. It's quite hard to think about Big Mom and Kaido right now. But back to the topic of this stream. We are here because of Scopper, Raighley, and Roger. Those guys gave us a good chapter because at first glance, the chapter was about the Kucha pirates, but the appearance with, the sound in which Roger will come with in this chapter, to be exact, I think it would be perfect because use of that microphone thing. I don't know if it's a microphone, but that tool that he used, it was just good. I would like to say that because, hey yo, like, hey Shaky, he was like, Kucha Pirate, this is Roger over here. You better surrender your first mate, Shaky. Just Roger Pirate over Straw Hat. Yo, dog, no, it's still the first chapter, dog. You cannot dethrone the Straw Hat Pirates like that. Like, it's still first chapter. As far as I'm concerned, the Straw Hats are still the best when it comes to comedy. I still say, but this scene will be very funny to see. I'm really waiting for the animation of this scene because it will be peak comedy from Oda. That's why I've been saying that Oda has decided to make One Piece great again. Like this scene or this chapter, to be exact, has been fun. Like seeing the creation of the skull in Hachinosu, like that skull was it was like just a human-shaped head until rocks arrived there. Fun. A lot of things were just given with this chapter. Like Roger was ready to sail out and just disappear in the area. He was just ready to get out of the Kucha pirates eyesight and escape the Marines. But you know, Gap had to show up. You know, like Gap arriving in this chapter is just as good as it can get. You know, so from the chapter when it begins, you know, it's very dope to see that the Kucha pirates are as capable as Boa Hancock. You know, like no man can fight against the Kucha pirates. I know Sanji would have died in that moment, but Scopper Kapan was dead already. You know, it was funny seeing. Uh, Roger was like, what did you do to?" Roger was like, what did you do to Scopper Kapan? Freddy, I'm tired of this gimmick of ignoring women like Luffy and Zoro and young men. You see the Roger pirates, real ruffians. Yeah, dog. Like you know, that's why I'm saying that Rayleigh here is just aura farming, dog. Rayleigh is just aura farming, but I'm really looking forward to a scene whereby Luffy will just be capsized by a woman. You know, Sanji chases away the woman. I the straight. I did. Yeah, dog. You know, like, but even Roger was like shaky. Who is this? The captain of the. It told the captain of the Kucha Pirates to get out of his. You know, he wants to see Shake, but I do understand that the straight pirates don't have reason, like, especially Sanji. Sanji doesn't have reason. You know, especially I think that Gaban has the same thing. I really hope to see Gaban have the same thing. Even the cover page of this chapter, it was good. I don't know, like the way they showed Scopa Kapan and Sanji and then Rayleigh and so it was like, okay, now it's settled, you know. We know that we are living in the past right now. Like One Piece has just gotten better right now. I don't know, like because despite all the things that have been happening in the White Century, you can't go anywhere with Sanji. Ain't no way, dog. You are not bringing Sanji any place, like unless unless an island full of women, and then it's just the two of us, me and Sanji. I will bring Sanji with me, and then just aura farm like Rayleigh did, you know. I'll just sit back and aura farm because if you bring Sanji to any event, you are not getting late that day. Hey no, like Rayleigh wasn't even fighting, dog. Rayleigh was busy with his swords. Like that shows you that this is just peak One Piece stuff, you know. And it's funny that always you see Zoro and Rayleigh calm, you know, but when Sanji is around, it's hard to see Zoro next. Zoro and Sanji can't get serious at any point of time. Those guys, it's like Zoro's weakness is Sanji. I don't care who says what. Like Zoro can try to aura farm, but when Sanji is around, like it's difficult for Zoro to aura farm. It's difficult. Like I am really impressed. And the thing I'm seeing with Roger, like having him interested in a woman, we see your One Piece, Roger. We see your One Piece. We see your One Piece because it seems like you were in it for pennies. Like you were really a simp for pennies, you know. So good stuff from Roger. And then Gab, like Gab, how can Gab be so cool? Because he didn't even give a fuck about the Kucha pirates at that point. He was like, the Kucha, what? I just want Roger. Like, how obsessed can you be with one guy, one nigga for you to forget about the most beautiful woman in the world? How can Gap do such a thing? Because I'm sure that Gap would have let Roger slide at that time, at least this one time, you know. I would have I would have understood if Roger was just given a pass by Gap, but Gap was like, no, fuck Shaky and his beautifulness and all the Kucha pirates. I just want to fuck with Roger, and I was like, oh my god. Even Shaky was like, it had to be Gap, didn't it? Like, yeah, that's where you see that this chapter is just, you know, seeing Rocks like being so protective about about the king of Elbaf. It is something though, because as much as Luffy doesn't take disrespect about Shanks, like you cannot disrespect Shanks in front of Luffy, and it seems like you cannot disrespect the King Harold in front of Rocks. Rocks will kill you, you know. You see why I say Shaky was an exception. Roger ignored Teresa for her vice captain. Sanji isn't folding at first contact. Sanji is dead. Sanji would have joined the Kuja pirates then and there. I am telling you, Sanji was gone. Sanji would have disabandoned the crew. I am telling you, Sanji would have been like, what? A ship full of women. Luffy, relax. I have found my old blue. That would have been Sanji. Sanji would have been like, hey, no way, bro. Because Sanji was so pissed that he went to an island full of gays, and then Luffy was sent to an island full of women, and Luffy didn't even care. You know, to Sanji's demise, that Luffy went to a very, very good island where there were all kinds of women, and then Sanji was sent to an island where there were gays. And he turned to a gay. Like Sanji was gay for a moment. Like that was the best moment as a Sanji fan. I don't wanna lie. Like, that moment was really good. Seeing Sanji running like run Sanji, run Sanji, run Sanji. And then when Sanji got caught and was like, oh my god. Hey, no way Sanji are becoming this type of a man now. You know? I was like, hey, no way Sanji gonna let Ivankov win this one, dog. You can't. And then when the ace news, like the makeup like melted from Sanji's face, and I was like, Sanji was like, what the fuck? And then the dress was off the next panel or the next episode where we saw Sanji. It was fun. So I really think that One Piece it is at its greatest. But I think this shows that the the flashback is done, guys. The flashback is over when I look at it, because I think like Oda has summed up everything about Harold and Loki for this moment. You know, anything more than this will be spoilers, because we almost had people confused that Loki ate the devil fruit. You know, at first glance, I was also like, what the fuck? Loki can't swim. He ate the devil fruit. Oh my god. And then I saw that Loki is a kid in that flashback. Because the time where King Harold got betrayed, Loki was a bit of an adult at that time. But when Loki fell into the ocean and was trying to go out to sea and he couldn't swim, I was like, yeah, he ate the devil fruit. But then I thought, this is Kid Loki. What if Kid Loki couldn't swim at all because he couldn't swim? You know? And I do understand that, because funny enough is that when we see Loki at that time, when Loki almost drowned and died, he didn't want to die, because Loki wanted to die the rest of his life. And then in that one point, Loki didn't want to die. He wanted to be free like rocks. W rocks. Like W rocks for killing the boy. Really good dream. Not really, because we still need to find out what happened to with Harald when he died, and what devil fruit Elbaf has. But that will be spoilers, because you know why? You know why I'm saying that will be spoilers when I deal with them. Already, like this guy Rox has confused us. Already we are confused about the two devil fruits. You know, we know that Teach has two devil fruits right now. So if Rox needed only two and Teach already has two, at this point, I'm just asking myself, do we need Loki to have that devil fruit, or just can Loki be just a hacky beast from now on? And we are not sure if Loki has eaten the devil fruit yet, which to me, I think it's still quite a good thing, because if we find out that the devil fruit was eaten by Loki before he fights, it takes out the excitement of what kind of a devil fruit it needs to be. So I think seeing the transformation and then getting the reveal will be better. I think that would be way more fun, because this chapter gave us more spoilers than we expected. In fact, this flashback, it had more spoilers than we expected. But seeing Loki happy for a second, like I'm really, really excited, because you can see in that chapter that Loki is having his best time. Like I really think like Loki enjoys arguing with his brother Hurricane. Like that is his only sort of comfort, knowing that he has a brother that he can beat up, and his brother wouldn't bitch about it. And it's just that the people around his brother could, affect Loki by supporting him. But Loki was really happy, because even though they almost let him die, he was like, I don't need your help. That is so peak Loki. Was like, nah, I don't need your help. But the boy is sleeping down there and grateful that he is alive, and you're like, seeing Ada protect Loki, dog, wholesome, and seeing how Ada and Loki interacted, it shows that Loki doesn't hate Ada that much. Loki might say hurtful things, but we know that deep down he doesn't mean that shit. So seeing Loki like this and seeing Ada protecting Loki, it's just like it gives you a vibe that Loki knows where he can get love, but because he's a warrior of Elbaf, Loki doesn't want to be loved. He feels like he become weak. So I understand why Loki wanted to distance himself from Ada especially. Because if anything, Ada is the one that made his father weak. I'm telling you, in Loki's eyes, is like this woman made my father weak, and this woman is just a gold digger, like any woman who wants to be with my father. But he knows the fact that Ada is one of the best people in Elbaf, which shows that Loki might be low key, low key underrated. So seeing things like develop like this in Elbaf, I don't wanna lie, I'm really much excited, really, really excited, and the final page of of this chapter, we see Rocks making a move. You know, we see Rocks making a move because even though that move is not as important as we would like, but obviously it was also the thing with Loki's own mother rejecting him, so he doesn't want a mother figure. Yeah, you know, Loki knew that he had someone who can look after him, but at that point, Loki was strong enough to be like, you know, like even if you had kids like Yamato or any other kid who is as strong as Loki or who has dreams such as Loki, it was too late to have a mother figure then. But Ada is a sweet mother, so she would have made Loki be weak at some certain point, because I really think Loki is good as he comes right now. We really deserve this Loki because what the fuck? This guy has been trolling the whole of Elbaf for this entire time. For a kid to do that, I think it's really impressive. It's really impressive, and it shows that man, Loki Loki is just a calm guy. And I really think that Loki and Big Mom needed to happen for Loki. Loki wanted to see members of the Rocks Pirates one more time or something like that. I think that's why Loki was down for that marriage. And I think Big Mom's kid saw through Loki's plan to meet Big Mom and she was like, nah, this guy doesn't love me. In fact, Loki is just wants to meet with Big Mom for his own selfish power. Because I do believe that Loki believed that with the members of the Rocks, he could have taken over the world. You know. So coming down to the two devil fruits, those devil fruits bring us back to Elbaf. You know, those devil fruits bring us back to Elbaf because in Elbaf there's a missing devil fruit. Every one of us is looking for that devil fruit. I am telling you, the most important thing after the devil fruit right now is the man with bent scars or bent marks. Nothing else is more important in One Piece than the devil fruit. So if it was the yummy yummy no me, I think that would be insane. I think that would be dope. But we have to wait and see. But if Loki has a devil fruit, you guys, I'm waiting for the reveal. I'm waiting for the reveal. And then going back to Rain, no man, no man, really did something in this chapter. really, really begged a very good woman. Really found the One Piece. What devil fruit did you think Rox wanted? I can't decide. There are too many options. You know, I really think that Roger wasn't looking for any kind of devil fruit. You know, I really think that Rox only realized or only knew about the importance of devil fruits after he learned about the past. Because when it comes to devil fruits, like Roger didn't care about devil fruits. Even his crewmates found the devil fruit which Buggy ate, but no one in the Roger pirates were interested, including Scopper Gaban. They didn't go and even check what kind of a devil fruit did the crew have, because everyone was talking about the devil fruit, but the OGs didn't care. So it shows that Roger wasn't that much into devil fruit. I think Roger really chased freedom to the fullest extent. I think the thought of not being able to swim, it didn't sit well with Roger. I really think that Roger really wanted to go for swims here and there. So once you get a devil fruit, you can't swim. I think Roger couldn't take that because even Shanks, Shanks doesn't want a devil fruit because you can't swim. You can't swim. So a devil fruit is a W plus a L. You have to remember that. You can't enjoy bathing in the ocean with a devil fruit. You need to be careful at all times. Devil fruits are a really bad thing in the One Piece world, especially if your world is covered in water, most of it. Oh, what devil fruit did Rocks want? I misjudged the question. What devil fruit did Rocks want? Dog, I think he wanted the yummy yummy no me. I really think that Rocks wanted the or did he look for the sun god Nika fruit? I'm not sure, dog. Because I really feel like Rocks is the type of man to look for the Nika fruit. You know, if there is any weird character that would know of Nick, I think Rocks would be one. You know, if it's not the Nika fruit, it's the Yami Yami no Mi because there is no way that Blackbeard was ready to turn on everyone because that's insane. Because Rocks wanted enough power to take over the world because he already knew that Emu and the Drow and he wanted Harold to eat the other devil fruit. Yeah, I misjudged your question, Oracle. I just realized. But what you said, dog, is really dope. But I think it has to do something with with Whitebeard's devil fruit, you know? Because if Whitebeard's devil fruit can destroy the world, that's a good leverage against him, because what king of the world are you if I destroyed the world? So Rock seems like that type of a figure to me that wanted that devil fruit, and then Whitebeard saw that this man can't have this devil fruit. If that's the devil fruit that Rocks wants, that would be a very bad thing. That's why I think if Whitebeard betrayed Rocks, I think it would have been for the devil fruit. I think it makes sense because if it was only two devil fruits that were needed, then if Blackbeard was just called or was just chosen by the Yami Yami no Mi, it makes sense because even the gum not even the gum no Mi, the Hito Hito no Mi, it didn't choose Roger. It didn't come to Roger in that time. It evaded Roger. So is this the correct time, for the devil fruits to come to their beings? Because these are also like if they are mythical devil fruits, they have a will of their own. So if the Yami Yami no Mi is a mythical fruit, it has a will of its own. So it can evade people for a certain time until it wants its use. Like Blackbeard said, I'm gonna bet it's a fruit we haven't seen yet, but Blackbeard is gonna eat for his dead devil fruit. If Blackbeard eats a dead devil fruit, dog, I think that would be more busted than the grimoire that Imu has. I'm telling you, G, like the greatest thing to ever happen right now in One Piece is Emu pulling out a grimoire. So if Blackbeard eats a dead devil fruit, you know, but I think a dead devil fruit might come in the form of Emu because someone will fuck up at the end of the day and become Emu's vessel. If Emu needs a vessel, I think it will be someone who fucks up. So I really think that it might have happened that Emu could have screwed with Roxy's plans over the years, because if Emu knew what Rox was planning to do, or if he could tell somehow what Rox wanted to do, I think he could have fucked up with the plans and made Blackbeard fall for a trap somehow. Because Lafitte is an archangel, so people say Lafitte is an archangel. So if there is gonna be any betrayal, it is going to come from the Blackbeard pirates. So Blackbeard getting a third devil fruit, dog. That's overwhelming, even for me. I really think that in that time, Oda would have ate. You know, but I think that the important devil fruits are in safe hands right now. Because the only thing waiting right now, we don't have time for people to learn about their devil fruits. Right now, we are in the phase of awakening devil fruits. You know, at this point, I really want to see every devil fruit awaken. I don't care what kind of devil fruit it is, who has that devil fruit, even if it's an enemy. Like, I really want to see Akainu's magma fruit awaken. Even Kizaru's light fruit awakening will be insane because that would be OP. You know, Green Bull awakening his forest fruit, that would be insane. Even Fujitora, an awakening from Fujitora would be dope. Kizaru awakening his ice fruits. Dofi gave us an awakening. That's fine. Yeah, I think it needs to happen because Blackbeard isn't strong enough yet to be a real final villain. Yes. So I think if Blackbeard fucks up somehow and then Emu gets Blackbeard's body, because right now it really seems like the strongest body in the One Piece world is Teach's body. You know, if there is a body that is capable of containing Emu as a vessel, it's Teach. It has to be Teach. If there is anyone, I'm telling you, Teach is the only guy that is capable of doing that. Because I really think that no one else can pull off such a feat. You know, so a third devil fruit would be just facts, dog. Like those are real facts. No one is as strong as Teach in terms of physique. Teach has fought against Shanks and came out with a smile. You know, do you believe that there's someone out there who went not a duel, dog? I understand that Mihawk had duels with Shanks. With Blackbeard, it was fights to the death, and Shanks has a scar to remember him with. So yeah, if Blackbeard needs to give you the creeps, dog, he needs to. He needs. So I really, that's why I think that Blackbeard won't be a final villain. It will only be when Emu takes over Blackbeard's body, then he will be a villain. But as for his dreams, even there is one member of the Rocks Pirates that said something important in this chapter. I don't know, someone was like, you cannot bring the giants of Galilee back to life. And then Big Mom's partner was like, yeah, shut up. We are talking about dreams here. I was like, you know, with dreams, there is nothing that is impossible. So I am telling you guys, if the giants of Galilee held on to their consciousness and they were like, we are not dying now. If those giants are that strong, are as strong as the legends say, like we are gonna have a Dr. Senko vibes whereby people were just frozen for years and then when they awaken, they still have their consciousness. You know, that would be peak fiction. I don't wanna lie. And knowing that Rock's Dizzy Bag was genuinely fucking with King Harald. Like, I am waiting for Loki and Zebek. Because even though Zebek seemed like a does Zebek seem to be a shady character? Like, my trust for Blackbeard just came back. I don't wanna lie. You know, seeing this much loyalty from Rock's Dizzy Bag, like my faith for Blackbeard just came back. Ah, right now, I'm looking at Teach in different eyes. You know, would Teach fuck with you for his power? Yes, I really think so. But I know that Teach is not like Rox, but I think Rox is a very great man. And being a great parent that he is right now, I think that's a given. But remember, Rox and Blackbeard aren't the same people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But for me, if Rox is this good, I am hoping. I really, really hope that Teach is a very good person. Because seeing this chapter right now and how Rox respects King Harald, you cannot say that Rox didn't respect Roger. You can't tell me that shit because you cannot tell me that Rox wasn't interested with a a rookie that wanted to sail the whole world. Rox must have felt Roger's passion and be like, yeah, that's a real pirate right there. So I don't see how Rox and Roger could have had beef in any way. Like this chapter, like knowing Rox like I do now, it really cements to me that Roger and Rox didn't have that beef. It was just, I think to me, it was just papers who compared Roger and Rox. But when it came down to business, I really think that those guys were just pirates at the end of the day. Because when you look at it, everyone respected Rox. I'm talking about Whitebeard. Even though they betrayed the nigger, at the end of the day, they had some respect for Rox. They had respect for Rox, especially when you look at how Whitebeard and Roger would sit. You could see that Whitebeard would look at Roger with a look of mystery and be like, "What's with you, D people? Like, what's with the decline? Like, what the fuck is genuinely going on with you people?" Because the decline right now has to be a gift that keeps on giving. Like, I don't wanna lie. The decline is a gift that keeps on giving. You know, like Gold D Roger right now is the greatest gift we ever had. I always knew that Luffy was a good character, but Roger, and then you have Rox. I think Rox is the true parent. If we don't know the context of what was Roger and Rox's main conflict. Remember, Roger went to God Valley to fight Rox. Huh? Roger went to God Valley to fight Rox, and Gap went because of Roger, and the Holy Knights were already there. No, the misconception about why Roger was there. Roger was there because of the transponder snail. Dog. You know, Genie was the reason why Roger went to Godville because Roger had no business with the world government. You know, Roger. As much as who is this? As much as Gap had nothing to do with going to God Valley, I think that Roger was in the same standard. He was like, God Valley incident. God Valley is happening. Okay. They didn't know. Let's be honest. No one knew about God Valley except for Rox. Maybe Rox heard it from the transponder too, but the reason why all the pirates made it to God Valley, it was because of the transponder snail. So the young revolutionary were the ones that brought Roger to the island. And what's funny is that Roger and the other gang, they didn't come to the island just to save people, or the message didn't come out like that. The message didn't come out like there are slaves here in the island. Can you please come save us? Nah, Genie was smart. You know, Genie was smart. Genie was like, no, you know what? I'll just relay the information about the treasure and the devil fruit. I know chaos will arrive. Genie was so smart. She didn't even lay it down to the world that, hey, guys, there's something happening shady there. No. The Rocks Pirate went to God Valley because of Genie to execute Rox's plan to take over the world. No, there was something that was stolen from Rox. You have to remember that the world government stole something from Rox. You know, there is the because Gab said something there in the God Valley flashback. Gab said like, I want the world government to not fuck with Rox. I told them to stay away from Hachinosu. So it seems like there was a time where the world government went to Hachinosu and then they did something shady. After doing something shady, Rox was pissed. And then it seems like whatever that they stole from Rox, they put it as a prize in whatever that tournament they were doing in Godwin. And then when Genie released the files, everything went crazy. Because no one was there to save the slaves. Truthfully speaking, I will tell you the truth. No one was there to save the slaves. The slaves were just saved by the fact that the pirates were there, and then all the celestial dragons felt threatened. Like the celestial dragons took a step back. They were like, "Oh fuck, pirates! We need to get safe." And then all the god knights were like, "Okay, let's protect the celestial dragons." But otherwise, there is no reason for me to expect that Roger and Rox went there to fight. No, no way, dog. Because Roger must have seen Rox do something that shook him to the core. I'm telling you, there was something that Rox was doing, and then Roger knew that this thing was wrong, or maybe Rox was ahead of his time. Let's be clear. You know, it wasn't Roger only who was 20 years late or 20 years early. Even Rox, guys, Rox was way too early. Rox was way too early. Like, we have to understand the fact that Rox didn't come in his era. No, Rox is also a man who was robbed of a dream. He could only leave it to the future to pull it off. No. Because you could hear with the way he was speaking with King Harald. King Harald was like, "Are you crazy? No one will take over the world." But Rox was like, "No, Harald. At the end of the day, someone is bound to pull it off." And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this two pirates? In fact, it's not the two pirates, because it's not only Roger and Rox that gave dreams to the next generation. Even Gap was passing on real information or real teachings to the Marines. Even though the Marines are such a corrupt like government, or they are such a corrupt foundation, but Gap did good in the Marines. So this chapter just shows you what's wrong with these three men, and they are all D's, doc. They are all fucking D's. Roger, Gap, and then it's who is this fucking fuck? It's Roger, it's Gap, and then it's Rox. You know, Roger is like, it's fine, I can die, but Kobe is there to take over the Kobe is there. That's insane, because every one of these old men knows that they won't die. How dope are these guys? Like, I'm so tired of these old men. I'm really tired of the old men, and this just makes me feel bad for pirates like Whitebeard. Like, we really thought that Newgate was a very good pirate, but seeing what we see now, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, the scales have changed, dogs. Like, the scales have changed. Like, now we understand what's so threatening about the D's. I understand that the D's are powerful, but I think the biggest problem when it comes to the D clan, it's just dreams. Dreams are the most problematic thing when it comes to the D clan. Look at Chopper. Chopper is driven by a simple dream to cure the world. I hear what you're saying, but the Roger parents went to Godville. No, like, already, I think after the streaming, we will have to go back to the chat. What happened to when the Roger pirates arrived in the scene in Godville. Scopper Capone was like, "Hey, Roger, there are no captain specials right now. The fact that you are my captain will stand aside. This is a competition. You know, like, it was just fun hearing what they were saying, because it didn't seem like at the moment Roger was the captain. No, the boys were like, whatever you get is yours, which shows that these boys were not there for the slaves or to fight Rox. They didn't even know for the fact that Rox was there. They didn't know, but the only thing that they knew first, okay, let me not say they didn't know that Rox was there. Maybe Roger might have heard that Rox is on the move to Godville, and he might have asked, why is Rox going to Godville? And they told him, like, there are devil fruits and some things like this, and he was like, oh, let's go. But the main reason that the pirates were there, it was because of trade. Because remember, when the Roger pirates left the Godville, it didn't look like they saved slaves and their ship. No, it was the Rox pirates celebrating their loot. Now, how gangster is that? You know, how gangster is it? I didn't see Roger and Rox like tending to slaves' wounds or anything. Like, I didn't see the boys looking at the wrongs of the world government there, but I just saw pirates going for treasure. Real pirates going for treasure. So at some point you have to see that that Roger and Rox weren't meant to fight in that incident. And if you think like there is a way that Gab and Roger could team up without a reason, ain't no way, bro. After this chapter, I know that Roger and Gab are not teaming up in any way, because if they wanted to team up, they could have teamed up against Shaggy. You know, if Roger and Rox wanted to team up, the greatest rivals was the Kucha Pirates in this chapter, but Gab didn't care about the Kucha Pirates or anything. He cared about Roger. You know, like Gab didn't care, didn't give a fuck about Rox. Gab was like, Rox. I've never had Gab fixated on Rox. You know, he was like, okay, Rox, okay, I'm not fucking with Rox. I think that was Gab's situation. Gab was like, no ways, I am not getting involved with Rox. I think that was Gab's stance or Gab's point of view. He was like, you want me to fuck with who? I have the chapter open from that I'm reading. The Rocks Pirates got leak from Gene about the Devil Fruit Trade, but the Roger Pirates, no dog. Give me the chapter right now. I am pulling out the chapter 2 anyway. Anyway, God really chapter. I want the chapter 2. Like we need to we need to do this. You know, chapter 1906. Let me go to One Piece, man. Because I'm telling you, the only reason why those guys were there, the only reasons why those guys were there, it's because of the treasure that was there. 1096. Is it the chapter where the rocks land on God Valley exactly? Is that the chapter or something like that? It's a chapter titled Kumachi. Like, guys, I really have a confession. I didn't watch the Kuma flashback. Like, after going through the Kuma flashback in the manga, I couldn't take it on. Yes, it is the chapter, dog. It is the chapter. You see, so look at this chapter. Listen to this, man. So it says Pirate Island, full led New World, you know. And then it says the Rocks pirates have already left. We gotta catch up, you know. And then it says the island surrounded. I've never seen this many navy ships before. Of course, there's no escape. Okay, fuck that. This is just the law from the slaves. This is just the slaves. And then we cut to Gene, and then you see, but I'm a pro at thieving and tapping. This is Gene, but I'm a pro at thieving and tapping. Transmission, you know, thieving, tapping, and transmission. 2 weeks ago, I managed to send a message about the island to the outside. Maybe someone heard it. Anyway, our plan, we are going to need a decoy. Then Kuma, of course, then here the Rocks Pirates land. You know? But you see that the Rocks Pirates had a mission, dog. Why does Roger say it's been a whole year? Do you have any idea how I've felt all this time? Roger was waiting for Rocks. Let's see. Okay, the next page is okay. The Rocks Pirates have made landfall. What is the Navy doing if they lay a single finger on us? Okay, pirate crews are covering or are converging from all over. How did it get out? Okay, that's cheap. It's the Roger Pirates. Then here is the chapter that the page that is important. So this is going to be a wild one. Okay, listen to this. This is going to be a wild one. Then it's what? It's been a whole year. Do you have any idea how I've felt all this time? You know? And then it cuts down to who? To Scopper Kapan. Then Scopper Kapan is like, no special privileges for the captain here, Roger. You know? So the navigator, like Scopper Kapan is the navigator. Alright, yeah. So we have to focus on the navigator. So if Scopper Kapan is like, hey Roger, no special privileges for the captain here, you know, that shows that the navigator went to this island because he didn't he didn't think about the rocks or something. They were just here for the treasure. And then it's been a year. Okay, I don't understand what he meant at that time. I won't lie, but if I think he wanted to meet with Roger again, yeah. Yeah, but I've been saying this the whole time that Rox arrived first with their mission. Roger found out Rox was there and went. Then Cap find out. So do you think that Roger came a week before? I would believe that these guys came in the same day, because it wouldn't make sense for Rox to come in a day before, but maybe it's been a year since an event like this has happened, because that there were events that shook the pirate world that were interesting. Maybe Rox and Roger had a Davy back fight back then. Who knows? you know maybe Rox and Roger had a Davy back fight, and maybe Roger enjoyed the thing. So maybe it's been a year since he had to compete against Rox. We don't know. I don't know, but knowing Rox as he is, dog, like I really find it hard for anyone to hate on Rox. I really find it hard for anyone to hate on Rox. My chair is cold, bro. Fuck. Scopper meant with fights. Remember with Odin, Scopper and really wanted to fight him, but Roger and failed. That is a very, very good, uh, good good reminder. I don't wanna lie. But what if it's not only about the fight? You know, maybe the fight would have been there already. Okay, we understand about the fight, but I think there was something about the treasure in God Valley right there. God Valley had some treasure too. Let me get a chair. My chair is fun. I can't sit on this really. Let me try to sit for a while. So this chapter is full of mysteries, dog. I don't wanna lie to you, because the way the Roger pirates are coming in, it's not like they care about slaves at all. I don't see any pirates coming here for slaves. The only thing I can see is pirates wanting treasure at all. You know. So this was a very good chapter, dog. Good chapter. So since I have the opportunity to go to the latest chapter of One Piece, maybe, but the reason the Roger pirates were there was to fight rocks. Why and how we got to Roger wanting to fight rocks, we'll still find out. The reason I think that Roger wanted to fight rocks, he saw the distraction that would have come with rocks winning in Godfield, because I really think that the rocks pirates could have taken down the world government there. You know, I really think the rocks pirates were capable of taking down the world government, because if you look at the amount of conquerors that they had, you know, I think it was only because of Gap and Roger. Like, they stick their nose into Rox's business. Let's just say that. The only reason why Roger and Gap were fighting, I think it was because Roger sticked his nose into Gap's business, into Rox's business. Or maybe it could have been the voice of all things. We don't know. But the problem is we don't know what Rox knew at that time. Because if Rox has been a pirate that wanted, but there is no reason for Rox or for Roger to know about the Void Century at that time. Like there is no reason for Rox to know about the Void Century. Not even Rox, but Roger. Yeah, Rock's crew was full of Galactus. Dog, the Rock's pirates were insane. The Rock's pirates could have wiped out the world government there. Okay, not even the world government, because Imu was a Marijoice, but the forces of the world government. Dog, Rox one taps admirals for a living. Rox is different. Rox is a very, very different beast. And having Kaido, having all of those guys there, that's a threat to the world government. That's why I'm saying that we shouldn't underestimate the power that Shanks wields. Shanks is very dangerous to the world government. Yeah, I think Rocks could have done it with that crew. Rocks could have, dog. They weren't ready. I think that's the only thing that made Roger and Cap step in, because at the end of the day, you should remember that these great parents, at the end of the day, they care about people, you know. So if Roger could have destroyed the world government then and there, and then news came out that Rocks destroyed the world government, bruh, do you know what that could have done to the world, to the One Piece world? The rebellions that could have happened. You know, so at some point you have to appreciate the fact that Gap and Roger stopped Rockstar, because it was maybe 24 years early for that shit. Rox was way ahead of his time, dog. Even Kaido's crew right now is not strong, is not as strong as Rox's crew. Oh, dog, oh, no. You know, Blackbeard can be strong, but Rox's crew, whew, bruh, that crew could shake the world. You know, just thinking of the haki or the aura that they had, especially if Gloriosa had the same has the same haki as Power Hancock. Oh my god. If Gloriosa, the captain of the Kucha Pirates, is the Conqueror's user too, I'm telling you, this takes things to the next level. Because it seems like Loki was fit to become a Rocks member at this point. It's just that Loki was just young for the Rocks parents. Rocks didn't want Loki; he wanted the man himself, Rod. But if Rocks could have waited for Loki to grow for a bit, I think things could have gone different. I think with the conquerors in the crew, it shows that there must be balance. Rocks had too many. Kaido is Kaido. It was only him, but Roger and the Straw Hats with three conquerors is how you succeed. Okay, with three conquerors, it's how you succeed. But I really feel like in the Straw Hat crew, it won't be just two people who will become conquerors. You know, I don't think it will be only two people. It can't be two people because I think Jimbe is a conqueror's user, but we don't know about Sanji. Yeah, Sanji we don't know, and I think I will be fine with Sanji not having conqueror's hack. To be honest with you, you know, as a Sanji fan, I have to tell you that Sanji is overpowered already. You know, the Gemma chains are enough for us. That's one power up we didn't think we needed. As Sanji fans, as a Sanji fan, I really appreciate the Gemma upgrade. That changed Sanji and how I view Sanji as an individual. Even though it isn't fully activated or something like that. But Jimbe isn't a concrete. Bruh, did you see Jimbe's fight with that guy who like Jimbe's fight in Wano? It leaves me with a lot of confusion, dog. Because what was shown from Jimbe, even though Jimbe is a hacky beast, dog, I don't want to lie, but even though Jimbe is a hacky beast, but that fight in Wano, it's just mysterious. I don't want to lie. Doesn't that fight with that guy who was a cipher pool agent, doesn't it give you question marks at how can Jimbe's haki be so strong? Because knowing the CP0 members as we do, there is no way that armament haki just stop that guy now. If it is armament haki infused with conqueror's haki, I would understand how that guy broke his fingers trying to attack Jimbe. But Jimbe's fights in one, dog, we need a lot to explain from there. Nah, but think about it. Jimbe is too quick to bow to someone who is stronger. Even Sanji does do that. But Jimbe was a person who used to bow to stronger people. But when Jimbe joined the Straw Hat crew, Jimbe was willing to stand against Big Mom. Who is not that strong? Who's who is strong, dog? I am telling you, dog. You know why I'm saying that who is strong, you know? I don't think Kaido would let a weakling join his crew. In fact, let a weak person just become. a leader. No, dog. Everyone in that crew, dog, was insane. Even that girl who had a headbutt with Luffy. That girl beat Luffy with Conqueror's Haki in the beginning, which was insane. I was like, okay, this girl, who does she think she is going against Luffy with a Conqueror's Haki clash? But what I saw was like, what the fuck? Did this girl just really beat Luffy with a Conqueror's clash? Because that headbutt didn't go in Luffy's favor, you know. That girl with horns at the beginning, even Yamato at the beginning had Haki that was stronger than Luffy. Who isn't even the strongest Toby Ropo? It's Ulti who you're talking about. Yeah, Ulti. Ah, dog. Ulti was a problem, dog. Ulti was a problem. And knowing that Ulti joined the Yamato squad and she's the first mate, right? Yamato's Yamato's first mate is Ulti. Oh my god. Bruh, Ulti is insane. Ah, that woman. Oh my god. The amount of haki she possesses. Imagine it took an attack from Big Mom. You know, it took an attack from Big Mom to stop that guy, which is insane. You know, Ulti might be one of the strongest to the rope. Like, I don't Ulti is stronger than who's Hooji. You don't need Conqueror's Haki to fight that guy. Yeah. Okay, like comparing who's who and Ulti is just insane. But I really feel like Jinbei is capable. Okay, let's just say Jinbei is a Conqueror's Haki candidate. You know, because I would really like to see a fishman possess Conqueror's Haki. Low key. Because let's be honest, you know, like Jinbei's fishman techniques are cool. And his armament, if he was using armament Haki, that's cool. But Jinbei needs Conqueror's Haki. Like, this is an Emperor's coup, for God's sake. Like, I'm not ready to face Shanks as a Luffy fan. Like, we need Jinbei to pull something catch. Conqueror's Haki is not something that we can put past Jinbei at the moment. Like, we are hoping that Jinbei gets there. But I really hope it's not just Sanji and Zoro who have Conqueror's Haki, because that will leave a lot of problems for the crew. You know. So the One Piece chapter has been insane, though. I don't know why. I enjoyed this chapter, and knowing for a fact that, oh, it's a weekly magazine break. There's a magazine break. That's insane. Now, candidates, we are talking about Sanji, Kobe, Sabo. Let Sanji get it first. Dog, I really think that if Sanji gets Conqueror's Haki, dog, the One Piece is over. You know, like, it's fine. You know, Sanji can be the last person to get hacked, as Sanji fans would accept that. It's fine. But you know, the Gemma twins, and we know that Sanji and his armament haki, they're just dope, you know. Sanji has the best armament haki when it comes to the Straw Hat crews. Not even the strongest, maybe it's Zoro, but Sanji has a strong armament haki too. Besides his observation hack, his armament is just good. And then when you infuse armament haki with, plus Sanji still has the power of love. You know, Sanji deflected a laser beam because he loves Bonnie more than we can expect. Apparently, Sanji loves a woman he just saw more than we can understand. You know, so Sanji is a real paradox that doesn't need Conqueror's hack at the moment. Because if Sanji has Conqueror's hack, imagine Sanji using Conqueror's hack every time he gets fired up. And Sanji gets fired up each and every chapter. So trust me, that will be too much. That would be too much. So I really have. I can do a stream about why Sanji shouldn't get Conqueror's hack. No ways. My boy wouldn't use it correctly. I know. I know. Now, Luffy specializes in Conqueror's Haki, Zoro specializes in armament, and Sanji in observation. So, do you know why I'm just specifying about Sanji's armament haki? Because Sanji's armament haki is important to him than it is important to Zoro. I know that Zoro might specialize more in armament haki, but Sanji is the person that worked more on his armament haki because Luffy can't break his bones. You know, no matter how much Luffy tries, Luffy cannot break his bones because at the end of the day, Luffy is made of rubber. So Sanji is the only Straw Hat member that came close to cracking his legs. And if Sanji breaks his legs, we know that he's cooked. He won't be the same pirate he is right now because he doesn't fight with his arms. His arms are just for cooking. And Sanji would still be a number 3 on the crew if he got Conqueror's Haki. But I think before the Conqueror's Haki, we need to explain the power of love. Because even if Gap doesn't seem to be Gap a Conqueror's Haki user? Yes. Yes, 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 he is because Gap wasn't surprised when Luffy used Conqueror's Haki. I know that Gap could have been in insane fights in such a way that he could recognize Conqueror's Haki when he sees it, but Gap has Conqueror's Haki, I know for sure. He was born with it. Gap seems to be really haki pissed. But Sanji can I think Sanji can still survive this One Piece world without Conqueror's Haki. But he will need it for sure. But if the power of love is to be so powerful in One Piece, I think Sanji is the one to show us. Because at the end of the day, I think Oden had. But Oden is a conqueror's hacky beast. Oden is different. Oden is a monster, dog. Oden is a monster. We shouldn't bring Oden to this conversation. But Oden also dropped his dream for a woman to save a woman he didn't know for to be exact. So that's insane. So there needs to be something about the power of love that will help Sanji. Because I don't think Sanji needs Conqueror's Haki. Even Scappa Kapan, he didn't seem like it. He needed Conqueror's Haki to take down the God Knight. Or he doesn't need to take down the Conqueror's the Knights or the God Knights. If Sanji can keep them at bay, that's good enough for Sanji. But let's be honest, G. The crew is in trouble if Sanji doesn't get Conqueror's Haki because Zoro and Luffy would be a would be doing too much heavy lifting. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It would be very, very difficult. But I think Sanji finding a way to be stronger without Conqueror's Haki could also benefit the rest of the crew because when you look down to it, the person that spends the most of the time with people like Usopp, Chopper, and Nami is Sanji. If there is anyone in the crew who would care enough to help the other Straw Hats train, it would be Sanji. And I would love to see Sanji helping the Straw Hats crew get stronger without the power of Conqueror's Haki because Oda said it, Doc, that the Straw Hats crews, maybe Usopp, Oda said it that Usopp won't have Haki, but I really suspect that Tony Chopper has Conqueror's Haki. And this Chopper theory of having Haki, it doesn't come out of nowhere because Chopper off-screened his reindeer family at some point. Because at some point Chopper wanted to bring back the mushroom to his father. His father, I'm talking about the crazy dogs that raised Chopper. Chopper wanted to bring back that guy a mushroom, and then suddenly his family of those reindeers they came and attacked Chopper, and then out of the blue, Chopper blew off screens his reindeer family. How? Why? You need Conqueror's Hakichi to fight the God Knight. It's what Gaban said, so it doesn't make sense for Sanji not to get it honest. Okay, so if Scopper Gaban had Conqueror's Haki, I think he could have killed Saint Summers. I really think so, because I really think that the best that Scopper Gaban can do right now is just to cut them down, you know. And if you look at it, Sanji can put more damage to the God Knights than Scopper Gaban because Sanji can burn you to a crisp, dog. Especially if you're not living like the God Knights. So I do believe that if Sanji puts enough fire and he makes his flames hot enough, he can burn the God Knights away. Like, I think Sanji can be the next biggest problems for the God Knights, even without Conqueror's Hug. Because his Gemma Chin's awakening and him evolving his fire from being orange to being blue, I think he stands a chance because Zoro didn't get Conqueror's Haki now in Elbaf. It was a power up that he got in one. So if I really hope that Sanji's power up from one can help him fight the God Knights. He used it on Summer's G. Remember, it stopped Summer's regeneration, even if he used it, you know. Yeah, I do understand that Summer's regeneration stopped, but he didn't die. You know, at the end of the day, Saint Summers didn't die, or let's just say, he didn't get a permanent scar. You know, that worries me. I don't want to lie because at the end of the day, there must be a way to show hug, and lightnings are the best way to show hug. So if you're saying that Jimbe doesn't have Conqueror's hug, I'm saying that Scopper Gaban doesn't have Conqueror's hug because the show of lightning doesn't just give you Conqueror's hug, no, because Jimbe showed us a lot of lightnings in one. Sanji wouldn't hit them at all. It would be the same as Frankie fighting. Take that back, Oratile. Oratile, take that back. Oh my fucking god. Oratile, you didn't just say that. Like, I'm really offended. Oh my fucking days. You didn't compare Sanji fighting God Knights to Frankie. But Doug, if it comes down to it, I really think that the flames that Sanji has bright the truth. No, Oratile, Doug, you can't do it like that. You can't because Sanji, for me, Sanji got great feats, because Sanji surprised Kizaru to a point, So I would like to think that Sanji is stronger than he was before. But if Conqueror's Haki is needed, then give Sanji Conqueror's Haki. I'm defeated. I'm defeated. You defeated me already, Retok. Like, give Sanji Conqueror's Haki. Because if Sanji is going to compare to Frankie, I can't take that level of disrespect. I really can't. Frankie hasn't been seen using Haki at all. We've never seen Frankie use Haki at all. But shout out to Frankie for always pulling up. But like right now I'm done with the flashbacks. I'm enough with the flashbacks. Like, you made One Piece great again. We know that One Piece is great today because of what happened in the past. We understand that. Nobody could really hit them until Scopper used Conqueror's Hack. I feel like, yeah, but he did say that it hurts. He did say that it hurts, but was it life threatening to Saint Summers? I'm not sure. We have to find out. But after all, Sanji is a prince. Sanji is a prince at the end of the day. Sanji is royalty. Even though we won't say that Gemma is a kingdom to be exact, but the Gemma kingdom does exist, and Sanji is a prince after all. Is he the best prince out of them all? Yes. If you had to put, you see, I want your guy to be strong. Ah, dog. You only want Sanji to be strong because you know that Sanji and Zoro go hand to hand. Dog. Zoro is not cool unless Sanji is strong. Like those guys just are a pair. Dog. Zoro and Sanji are just a pair. But Sanji getting Conqueror's Haki, I do feel like it would be like, imagine Zoro is good with his sword techniques and then Conqueror's Haki. You know, imagine Sanji, it's his Gemma Jeans, it's Haki. Let me just say basic Haki, and then it is observation Haki, dog. Like, how good can Sanji get? No, dog. Like, Sanji needs to get nerfed somewhere. I really want Sanji to get nerfed because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I really think that Raighley is stronger than Scopper Gaban. You know, even though Gaban won't accept that, but you know, Freddy, Zoro is stronger than him by a good gap. Don't lie to yourself. You know, me, the only important thing to me when it comes to strength between Zoro and Sanji, it's the fights they have. You know, the fights they had are really, really important. You know, but when it comes to fighting, deep down, I know that Sanji won't beat Zoro. Zoro would cut down most who Kelly Bros for sure. You know, if because Zoro has beaten Sanji once, Sanji made the mistake to show his weaknesses to a swordsman. You know, so if it comes to battles, I really think that Sanji is a bit weaker than Zoro, but not in terms of being weak, but it only comes down to kindness, dog. It only comes down to kindness when it's between Zoro and Sanji because Zoro has killer instincts and Sanji doesn't at all. Sanji has zero killer instincts. But it's funny that even though Zoro has killer instincts, Zoro hasn't killed anyone ever since. We've never seen Zoro kill a person before. Maybe I'm not sure, but even King is still alive, which I'm happy. I don't wanna lie. I'm really happy that the last Lunarian is still alive. And I'm waiting for King to meet with what are these guys called? The guys that were copied from Lunarians. Pacifistas. Is it pacifistas? Sanji and Zoro have different purposes, so on here I won't disrespect Sanji as much. Yeah. But you don't have to lie. Like you also enjoy the Zoro and Sanji fights. As a Zoro fan, you enjoy the Zoro and Sanji fights because that's the only time you get to see Zoro being fun when Sanji is around. You know, it's hard for you to see Zoro crack a joke. That's why I appreciate Sanji so much because Sanji brings a lot out of Zoro. Zoro can aura farm 1 second, and then once Sanji speaks to Zoro, Zoro gets out of character. Like he gets out of character immediately. And we know how hard it's been to get Zoro out of character since like the time skip. You know, since the time skip, it's been hard to see Zoro smile. So having Sanji there to bring out the best from Zoro, it's cool. The Seraphim, yeah. I think King will really be terrified with seeing the Seraphim come. And the Seraphim sing King too, they will be shocked. I really, really see it. And I really want the Doflamingo fucking what? If the Doflamingo Seraphim met with King, I think that would be the greatest interaction of all. Because Dofi is the greatest character when it comes to One Piece. So seeing Doflamingo and the S Dofi or something like that. But seeing Doflamingo's Seraphim meeting with King, that would be dope. Or Mihawks. Because S Hawk has been shown to be the most observant one, and S Hawk is hard. S Hawk goes hard, dog. Mm, I'm enjoying it. Like I don't wanna lie. I really, really don't wanna lie. S Hawk is really insane. You know, and the S Hawk and Zoro fight, dog, we didn't deserve that fight. Tell me, Oratini, do you think that in and as Zoro fans in all of our glory, as the Straw Hat fans, as fight scene fans, did we deserve that fight? That Seraphim fight? Because S Hawk and Zoro was just like I'm telling you. Even in fact, as every time S Hawk has wielded a blade, we've been blessed. Every time as Hawk wielded his blade, we've been blessed. It's like seeing Shanks do the Kamusari one time and we were satisfied for decades. Oh my god. Oh, that can do something when he likes. Because S Hawk is S Shark. Is it S Shark? Yes, it's S Hawk. Ah, I'm telling you, S Hawk just gave us something, you know. And seeing Zoro not going full out on S-Hawk, I was like, oh, Zoro, so you are that cool, huh? Huh? Because when it comes down to business, Zoro could have killed S-Hawk. I am sorry to say this. It was a teaser. I wonder what Toei are going to do for Zoro versus Rob Lucci. But it's already begun, so we already see how the Zoro and Rob Lucci fight is going. And I don't want to lie, it isn't going as hard as it's supposed to do. Because the Zoro and a One Piece fight is epic when it breaks the internet. You know, when a fight scene breaks the internet, I'm telling you, it's epic. So we know what to expect that will break the internet coming forward. And the Lucci and Zoro fights, I don't think it will bring so much hype to One Piece. Nah. No, 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 no. So I really think that the thing that will bring hype, I'm waiting. Fuck Rob Lucci. I'm waiting for the Elder versus Zoro. The Elder versus Zoro, my chi. That Elder that has that katana versus Zoro. That's what I'm waiting for. That animation will be insane. Because I know that Zoro and that old man don't fight for a long time, but I hope we get more of it than anything else. Because that old man versus Zoro. Woo! That old man Venus Juro. Oh my god. Venus Juro is the one that uses the katana. Hey. It just gives me chills down my spine. Like, because I know that Zoro will be excited to see Saint Venus again. I, I know that Zoro will be very much, because Saint Venus was hyped to meet Zoro, and people won't understand the fact that that old man hadn't been outside for such a long time, and imagine going out to Ichimanji. Imagine it's been 800 years or maybe 100 years since you made it outside, and then the first thing that Saint Venus sees, it's the Wado Ichimanji. Kuina and Kuina and still have a mystery of their own. Kuina and Zoro still have their mystery of their own. And then when you mix Saint Venus with, because I really think that Kuina might have went against Saint Venus. There might be a possibility that Kuina wielded her katana against Saint Venus before her father came. He notices Zoro's Sunday Kaite, which is the dead version of his sword. Yeah, dog. You know, so if there is fate, like I really think that it was the best moment for a swordsman at the time, because Zoro noticed this guy's sword, and then Zoro notices Venus's sword, and is like, "Whoa, a great blade." Zoro is like, "What the fuck?" Even Zoro was shook. He was like, "Okay, you know, if you're going to have a problem with, if we're going to have a problem with the elders, you see Saint Venus and Figureland. Oh God, Venus, dog. I don't know if people are ready to see Venus or a farm, because Venus will run around Egghead Island and cut down all pacifistas. You know, he won't break them. No, he will just shut them down temporarily. Venus is cold. I'm telling you, Venus is cold. You know, if there was anyone who was supposed to be sent to Egghead first, it was Venus. Why did Oda rob us of that moment? I think Zoro is gonna have three black beads by the time he fights Venus Juro. It's gonna be peak. Oh, dog! But I would really like to see Mihawk there too. I don't want to lie, dog. I really would like to see Mihawk cash swords with Saint Venus at the end of the day. You know, if there is a great war, Mihawk and his glory shouldn't be absent in that war. Trust me, because Mihawk stood, or Mihawk was just playing around in the previous war. Okay, we know that Oda couldn't show us the magnitude of Mihawk's attack fully because we, we hadn't reached that level of power yet, because a lot of things were nerfed in what you call in the war, So I really want to see Mihawk with his glory at the end of the day. I really would like to see Mihawk with his glory, and Mihawk dying is a no for me. You know, that is why I think it is important for Buggy or for Mihawk and Zoro to meet now before like the great scramble of war happens. Because I really think that it will come a time whereby Mihawk and Crocodile will have to give their cooperation to Buggy. So if there is anything that will make Mihawk beg for his life from Zoro, because we know that a swordsman cannot run away from the last attack. So if there is anything that will make Mihawk want to live, I think it's Buggy. If there is a person that will make Mihawk lose his way as a swordsman, I think Buggy should. I don't want to see Mihawk die. I wonder who Cross Guild are gonna fight first. I think it's gonna be the Marines. Mihawk first bounty is gonna be Fujitora. The greatest fight that the Cross Guild will have, I think it will be one. Because I think Buggy will go to Wano in a state whereby he will go to in a form like attack Wano, and then he will find out that there are guys that he know of. So I really think that Cross Guild's first fight will be Buggy. And I really think that people, Crocodile or Crocodile or who is this guy, or Mihawk, they would like to clash with Yamato, because Yamato is a good fight, and it's hard to see characters in One Piece running away from a good fight. So I would really love to see Buggy going to Wano first. It will be a good trip. I don't want to lie, because knowing that the dog is there, who is the dog? But Cross Guild still need road poneglyphs. Yes, that's why I'm saying that they should go to Wano. And if Momonosuke hasn't been resting, I think I would be happy if we go back to Wano and then Momo is ready to can read road poneglyphs. Because in Wano we cannot go out of Wano without anyone who can read road poneglyphs. So if Momonosuke is taught how to read poneglyphs, I think Buggy might drag him to the ocean. So Momonosuke might not be a straw hat pirate at the end of the day, but Cross Guild needs someone to read poneglyphs. And I'm telling you, if Buggy sees Momonosuke and then he remembers Oden, I'm telling you, Buggy is so dumb, like he will associate Momonosuke with poneglyphs. I am telling you, Buggy won't let Momonosuke go. Guys, I'm telling you, if Buggy and Momonosuke meet, I'm telling you, the archaeologist of Cross Guild will be Momonosuke. Because while Yamato is going around Wano, I'm really hoping that Momonosuke is learning how to read poneglyphs to decipher them. Because Buggy is coming to Wano, and I think Buggy going to Wano is better than Blackbeard going to Wano. If there is any crew that needs to get to Wano first, is the Cross Guild. Though. Cross really needs to make it to one, and I really like the energy that it will bring, because I know that Buggy will go into one looking like a villain. And then having his crew supporting Buggy, and then Buggy being delusional, being like, I'm gonna take over Wano right now, and then coming to realize that there are people he actually knows in Wano, like It's the same feeling with Whitebeard because there was a time in the war whereby Whitebeard was like, "Hey you, hey you, Brad, aren't you the Brad that used to sail with Roger back then?" And then Buggy was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you hell," you know. So I would like to see Buggy go to one with that same energy, and then only for everyone to find out that half of the people who are in one know know who Buggy is, you know, because I am telling you, like the scabbards, especially the cat and the dog, you know, the minks, the minks who are the scabbards of Momonosuke, without a doubt, they still remember Buggy. Like it's rare for animals to lose sense, and for me, I really think that Buggy will have a peculiar scent, to be exact. I really think that Buggy will have a peculiar scent because we've seen animals try to eat Buggy and they couldn't handle it and then they spit him out. So to get back to God Valley, which 1v1 happened between the Roger Pirates and the Rocks Pirates? None. I would wanna lie. Because it seems like it didn't happen like that. Because at the end of the day, the most interesting crew to fight was the God Knight. I don't wanna lie, you know, because Garling and Whitebeard happened, so there is no way that Whitebeard was fighting any crew member of Roger. And to be honest with you, no member of the Roger Pirates could handle smoke with the rocks. No, no man, no way. Not the rocks crew with the Zoro dog. Like there is no way where I can expect Scopa Gaban. Like I'm okay, Prime Scopa Gaban I understand, but that version of Scopa Gaban against Kaido, bet on him, Kaido, one on one, Kaido himself. It's just unreasonable. So I really think that the fights were split against God Knight, you know, because Saint Thomas and Scopa Gaban happened for a fact, we know. Figaland Garling and Whitebeard happened for a fact, that we know. So I think Big Mom was going around looking for fruits or something like that. I really think that Lin Lin was going around looking for devil fruits. Now I'm sure Roger, Ray, and Scopa were fine. I don't know about anyone else. Yeah, anyone else. Yeah, anyone else is cooked. But I'm just saying that the Rocks Pirates dog are too overpowered. I really think that they are overpowered because even though Scopa Gaban and Rayleigh are strong, dog, you know, at the end of the day, Kaido and Big Mom could go against Roger one on one. You know, so that says a lot. Okay, I understand that maybe like last time Scopa Gaban could take Kaido, yes. But Prime Kaido and Scopa Gaban, I don't think that would happen. So I really think that Kaido took on someone in the God Knights, you know. Maybe Kaido was fighting Figureland's right hand because Figureland can't be the only powerhouse in the God Knights. So if there is someone who is as strong as Figureland, I think Kaido is dumb enough to fight. That's why they crumbled at God Valley. Yeah, like God Valley was a mess. Even the island couldn't survive it all because like Conqueror's users meeting is so dangerous that the animals run away. We've seen animals. Remember, Kaido was still young at Godville. Yeah, Kaido was really young at Godville. You know, I would understand why Kaido would just up and go because at the end of the day, it wasn't Rock's era, and I think the crew could see that it wasn't time yet. You know, it wasn't time yet. It is not time yet. It is not time yet. And I think that's a very bad thing that happened to Rocks, you know. I really feel unfortunate for Rocks because even though Rocks wanted to turn the world upside down too, he was just 20 years old, 24 years old, maybe 25 years old, but Rocks was also ill. As much as Roger was ill, Rocks was also ill. That is why I'm saying that Shanks right now doesn't have the time to stop Blackbeard. Nah, like we won't see Shanks running after Blackbeard anymore. Nah, no. Shanks must know that right now all the chaos needed, or all the chaos we can get is fine. I really think that the Blackbeard pirates were a problem back then. Like the Blackbeard pirates are only a problem when it comes to characters like Shirahoshi. We don't want to see Shirahoshi meet with Blackbeard in any way because she isn't escaping that one. I fear she's not escaping that one. So Kaido's crew, Kaido's crew is still alive. And I really think that Yamato is dumb enough to ask, "Oh my god, oh my god, you guys, the most important meetup in one, King and Yamato, you guys, guys, I am telling you, King and Yamato is a very important meetup. Like I am telling you, Yamato needs to make it to that jail somehow. I don't know how, but Yamato needs to meet with King. You know, King is waiting for Joy Boy, and Yamato definitely knows who Joy Boy is. Yamato knows. Okay, I know that if King knows right now that Luffy is Joy Boy because he came to the conclusion that the person who will defeat Kaido is Joy Boy. But I really think that King deserves a confirmation. And some Rocks pirates died too there. Died died there too because remember the theory that Thriller Park is actually a piece of God Valley. And Guanzai and Captain Jones' body were found on Thriller Park. Yeah. But one thing about Captain Jones, is that did Captain Jones hide his treasure before or after God Valley? That's the greatest mystery with Captain Jones. But did people die in God Valley? Yeah. I really think that people died. But I don't think Rocks died at God Valley. Because there is a iced figure in there is this figure I saw in what's this prison? The prison that Luffy and Buggy broke out of, impelled down, coming back. No stress. But there was there was the impelled down scene whereby I feel like I saw Rocks in impelled down. I don't wanna lie. At impelled down, I feel like I saw Rocks dizzy back, which is quite dope. It's quite dope. I don't wanna lie because Rocks was there. you know, like if listen to this, guys. Listen to this. This will be one of the greatest theories I've ever made. What if Rocks never ate a devil fruit? You know, what if Rocks didn't find the devil fruit he wanted? You know, what if there is no reason that keeps devil fruits like the yummy yummy no mi reincarnating? Because if Rocks had eaten the yummy yummy no mi or any kind of devil fruit that was important, it wouldn't reincarnate, but that would make Rocks himself important. But you guys, I'm telling you, if Rocks got himself frozen and impelled down, that might be a power move from him. I am telling you, Tonks. I am telling you, I wouldn't be surprised seeing Rocks run around Marineford or impelled down. You know, I really feel like if there are characters that are shaking me to the core when it comes to impelled down, when it comes to Doflamingo, when it comes to Rock's Dizzyback or the guy who had the type of hair that Rock's had, and that because I'm telling you guys, there is a prisoner that looks like Rock's there, especially in that icy cells, those icy cells, guys, like there is someone who looks definitely like Rock's there. And was it a mistake? No, I don't think Oda would let something like that pass or get into the anime, dog. So is Rocks at Impel Down frozen? Maybe. So that shouldn't be a problem for us if Blackbeard gets absorbed by Emo because we still have Rocks at the end of the day. So Rocks being here wouldn't be such a bad thing. I don't wanna lie. So Rocks making it out of Impel Down is really quite interesting to me. And I really think that the world government is dumb enough to put Rocks on handcuffs and then put him in a place where he can where he can get frozen, because maybe they think that's the best way to keep Rocks chained. Let's freeze him to death. But Awechi, Awechi. Like Oratile, how do you feel about the Rocks Impel Down theory? Let me hear it from you. How do you feel about the Rocks Impel Down theory? Because I really feel like I saw someone like Rocks Dizzyback at Impel Down. I am feeling 100% sure that I saw someone like Rocks Dizzyback at Impel Down, you know, and he was frozen. I don't know if you remember those cells that were frozen, because we didn't see much from those cells. We just saw a bit from them, but I am sure that we have a Rocks figure there. Someone there looked like Rocks and impelled down. And he was frozen, funny enough. Oh my god. If that's what happened to Rocks, if Rocks is just at impelled down and frozen, dogs, I think that would be the greatest turnaround in One Piece ever. Because at the end of the day, Rocks knows the importance of ice. If Rocks believes that the Galileans are still alive, I don't think Rocks can get killed by ice. No. The Galilei, T.S. Galilei. Yes, the Galilei giants. Yeah, I do mention the Galilei giants. But didn't you see a person like Rocks and Impel Down? Because Rocks, at first glance, when I saw that character at Impel Down, I was like, this guy is not as fat as Blackbeard at the end of the day. If he is supposed to be anyway like Rocks, I'm expecting him to have a round belly and all that. But this chapter showed us that, nah, man, Rocks wasn't a fat guy. Rocks just had a lean body. So that slim body of a shallow frozen figure and impel down, it really fits the Rocks. Now, I don't remember anyone looking like Rocks. I saw this person when they were. Let me see if there is a video of it here, because I know that nothing goes unnoticed in One Piece. Let me just search Rocks Impel Down. Rocks Impel Down. It even appears in my tab. Let me see. Yeah, dog. Look at this. Or I dog. I don't know if it will show here. Fuck. But just go on YouTube and search Rocks Impel Down. Dog. There is this icy shadowy figure that looks like Rocks, dog. Let me tilt my camera like this. Look at this man. Look at this old Gramps, dog. And look at the focus. Look at the focus that was put to this man. The focus that was put to this man. You know, like, dog. Guys, come on. You know, the hairstyle. Let me say, the hairstyle. I don't wanna lie. The hairstyle is giving. The hairstyle is giving vibes. It's just the hair, but you know, it's not just the hair, it's the eyes. The eyes, Okay, let's just say hair eyes. How lucky can Rocks get that the cell that they put him in is just frozen by any form? how lucky would Rocks be? Because I think that would be insane luck in the hands of Rocks. I understand that it might be our superstition and all that, but the hair and eyes, you know, especially since Rocks like is dead ass believing the fact that, you know, the Galilee giants are still alive. And you can see this Rocks has the same eyes as Blackbeard. Yeah, Rocks absolutely has the same. The facial expression is the same. It's only the hair that's different. But we've never seen Blackbeard's hairs that much to be exact with, you know. But like, oh, I'm telling you, Q, that is Rocks. Mm-mm. Because you know you can tell that that person is relaxed, dog. You know, like anyone else is panicking in that cell, or you can tell that anyone else would fear, but that guy is aura farming. He's here. He's just seated like this. You know, it's like Rox just read the situation and was like, "Oh, I'm put in a cell that I can freeze. Okay, let me just freeze myself." But did he die? No ways. You know, if the Galilee giants were strong enough to survive the ice, and if that's Rox, then Rox is alive, dead ass. You know, and the day if Rox didn't eat a devil fruit, guys, I'm telling you, because remember that that jail will get flooded, and once that jail gets flooded, and that guy is just melted. If he is the man I think he is, he will make it out of that prison alive. Wait for the water to rise 2 meters or 3 meters. I'm telling you. And then rocks get unfrozen. But it's just hard to see the role that rocks will play when Blackbeard is already here. You know, but if he promised that he will come back and he is here in flesh, then that would be more insane. But I don't think so many coincidences can happen in one panel, dog. You can't have eyes and a person that looks like rocks. You know? Rocks believes that that eyes preserved giants, but let's not dwell on that very much. You know, but One Piece is just great as ever, guys. One Piece is as great as ever. No, One Piece is just doing the most. And Orakile G, we are South Africans. The One Piece live action is in Cape Town. I'm just glad that I'm with you right now, Orakile. The One Piece live action is in Cape Town, G. You know, and we need to go there. We need to be there. You know, the One Piece Live studios we need to visit one day. I really want to visit that studio. I would like to set up a trip for Cape Town and the One Piece Live studio. And even getting auditions from the One Piece Live studio would be dope. You know, I don't wanna even if you don't play like the main characters in the One Piece Live action, but just being side characters, you know, because if One Piece is going to be as long as we expect, then that would be a good paying gig. You know? I really think it would be. Let me start making money first. Nah, gee. Nah, without the berries, Baba, we should be able to travel, dog. Like we live in South Africa, like One Piece live action studios are here, dog. One Piece is in our country. So yeah, dog, we need to make something happen. Oh, let's find a way to audition there, dog. Let's find a way to audition there because we know One Piece needs a lot of characters or side characters to be exact, you know. So let's audition for the One Piece live action. I don't know how, but we can try to audition for it. We need to find information about the One Piece live action. We really, really need to find information about the One Piece live action. It's in our country, you know. And as a One Piece fan, how far do you think the live action gets? The live action will be really difficult. It will be really, really difficult, you know, because. But I think the One Piece live action will get far, you know, because it's not written for us One Piece fans. The hardest pill to swallow about the live action is that it's not written for One Piece fans, because as a One Piece fan, I don't know how frustrated you get watching the live action. Like the amount of frustration that will consume you as a One Piece fan watching the live action, it is unbearable. Like seeing Gab standing with Roger in the execution platform, it was blasphemy. I don't want to lie. Woo! You know, seeing Gab ordering Mihawk around, it was insult. It was salt to a wound that I didn't think I would have. But at the end of the day, the One Piece live action isn't written for the anime fans, because we know so much about One Piece, and we are in connection with One Piece so much that I get angry looking at the live action. I wanna lie. I think they get to Ennis Loop and the rest will be movies. Dog. But I think we have to understand that, if Oda is a perfectionist that he is, Netflix will be pressurized to get good animators at the end of the day. Netflix will have to put in good animation. So I think the series can go far. Because Ennis Lobby is just around the corner. It is just around the corner. It is just around the corner. Ennis Lobby is just around the corner, and the way One Piece live action is progressing is just insane. But the fact that you already introduced Roger, you need to make it to Laugh You introducing Roger in One Piece, you just have to make it to Laugh because that's where the One Piece is at the end of the day. But now that I'm ending the stream, it's been a while. You know? I don't know, but I would like to run this past you or I did a channel. But I would like to do a video about the One Piece. A theory. I do have a theory about the One Piece, and I think that the One Piece is the ancient kingdom. I really think that the One Piece is the ancient kingdom, and the reason why Roger laughed there. Have you have you read Kuga Ravagedi? Mbana, have seen that anime in a lot of places. Maybe it's still manga right now, but I haven't. I don't wanna lie. I haven't, but I will try it out. But right now, I mean, Kaiju has taken me by storm. I really think that Kaiju will be rated as an OG anime in the next 10 years. And there is this anime that's called the Water Magician anime. I think it has stolen my heart too. It's a manga, yeah. I haven't started reading it. I don't know lie. But yeah, already let's talk about this theory for a bit and tell me if you think it's worthy of being a video, because I really need to get feedback sometime. But I really think that the ancient kingdom is the One Piece. I really think that the ancient kingdom is the One Piece. And the reason why Roger was laughing, it was because he didn't have the will to go to the last island. Because at the end of the day, I've seen it. The water magician is dope. That anime is so dope, dog. I don't know. There's something about the water magician that I don't understand. And Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 is so slow that I'm going to read anime soon. Like, if the next episode of Kaiju number 8 doesn't come out today, hey Chi, how are you, Chi? Like, if an episode of Kaiju number 8 doesn't come out tomorrow, I'm going to read it. Even Water number 7. I haven't watched it yet. Kaiju number 8, you should. I really think you'll enjoy it. I really think you'll enjoy it. But I think my next video will be about the ancient kingdom. I really would like to discuss the ancient kingdom because One thing that made me think about the ancient kingdom is that Iceberg is trying to, or I meant Water Magician. Oh, you need to try it, dog. The Water Magician is dope. It's dope. I don't wanna lie. I wanna lie. There's something about it that's giving me hope, but it's still the first season. The first season gets good writing every time. But my next stream will be about the ancient kingdom because Iceberg is trying to build a floating island. Finished Kaiju number 8. Yeah, me too. Going to the manga soon. Soon, soon. But Iceberg has been in my mind for a very long time because I don't think Iceberg has made Water 7 float yet. You know. And I think that the ancient kingdom is not ready. Because at the end of the day, Vegapunk was teaching his nation about building a artificial heater for their island. I think they will master that at the ancient kingdom because all these things that these different cultures are trying to do, like different kinds of cultures are trying to achieve different things in One Piece, and this shows that the ancient kingdom is important because at the end of the day, every single day of One Piece that goes on, there are people who are living in a submerged island. Other islands right now are uninhabited, whatever. But people can't live in certain islands anymore because we've seen people use boats to survive in certain islands. So I really think that the fighting aside, I meant the manga too. I think the One Piece has something to do with the world flooding as well as in either both one of the two. Yeah, dog. But I think it has to do with the world flooding because there was a statement where they said someone came back in one piece. I think it's either they were talking about Luffy or it was a crewmate talking about their other crewmen. They were like, "That's good, you came back in one piece," and then it gave me a thought that the whole world is not in one piece. Even Ada is cementing this to us that the destruction of any culture is waste. Destruction of any culture or any civilization is a waste. And trust me, you guys, like as much as we are fired up for the final fight, but the ancient kingdom needs to be found before the final fight. We really, really need to find the ancient kingdom before the final fight because if you go to the final war before the ancient kingdom, then it's all useless because you can have the ancient kingdom, but who will live in it? You know, who will occupy the ancient kingdom if we don't find it before the world? Because if there is something that's bound to turn the world upside down, is the ancient kingdom. Because Dragon was like, people are going to fight for high places, high grounds. People are going to fight for high grounds from now on. And we need to get them before people get to fight. What if Dragon is thinking a bit too small? you know because I know that the ancient kingdom won't be perfect when it comes, but I think that the ancient kingdom can float. you know and then I think Iceberg would need to come back and work on the ancient each and in fact each and every civilization needs to come back to work on the ancient kingdom because even though Vegapunk has created clouds, I think clouds are good enough to take people to the ancient kingdom because we know that you can drive the clouds. Like the people from the Skype have shown us that you can drive these clouds if you want to. If you want to move the sky islands, you can. Like the Vegapunk is doing it right now. Vegapunk is moving in a floating cloud. So this is just important. This is just important in the One Piece world. I don't wanna lie, it is important, and I don't think one nation will be enough to fix the ancient kingdom. we need everyone from the North Blue, from the South Blue, from the West Blue, from East Blue. Everyone will be needed in fixing the ancient kingdom, because if you look at it, it's the ship, the great ship Noah. That ship has to sail around the world before the final fight happens. And then where does it take the people? To the ancient kingdom. You know, the ancient kingdom won't be ready, but I think that the ancient kingdom wasn't destroyed. As much as the the people of O'Hara were willing to throw away their lives for saving books, I really think that the people of the ancient kingdom really were willing to throw away their lives just to save that kingdom. I know that old people might have stayed back, and then maybe the young generation maybe left for higher ground, but I really think that the ancient kingdom, or the civilization of the ancient kingdom, risked everything to save that kingdom. Maybe Roger was at the ancient kingdom in that state, who knows? Because only a pirate could laugh at an island made out of gold, right? What if maybe you were in a certain part of the ancient kingdom that is made out of gold only? Wouldn't you laugh too at the riches you had? Because I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, there has to be something about the ancient kingdom that needs to be found before anything else. And if there is anywhere that's written where to find the ancient kingdom, it's the road Pony Cliffs. I think that's the only trace that we have to the ancient kingdom. So I am really looking forward to that stream where I talk about the ancient kingdom fully and deeply, because I think it will be a very great theory to go through, a very good one, because this chapter has come, or this flashback has come to circle a few things to us, because even though people can't go underground, and yeah, it's a good stream topic. I think the ancient kingdom sank after they lost, and maybe the One Piece comes from there. Yes, dog. Maybe the One Piece is the only thing that can make you register the mark. Oh, the fuck! How can I forget this shit, dog? Like, like, do you understand the fact that the islands work with magnetism? And let's just say that a great war happened in in the ancient kingdom, and then a piece of the ancient kingdom was broken. What if the ancient kingdom is not one piece, but a piece of the ancient kingdom was torn away from the island, you know? And then when you reach Left Tail just keeps showing you a different direction. Or maybe when you reach Left Tail, as Left Tail is a piece of the ancient kingdom, what if Left Tail just makes the what's this the navigation thing just point at the ancient kingdom, because it might be possible that Nami will see something funny about the navigation tool when she reaches Last Tape. There must be something that will show us that there is an island after the Last Tape, because I really think that Roger was laughing because as though he's a man who cannot turn down an adventure. He couldn't take that on. Roger couldn't take the adventure to Love Tape because he would have died maybe in the process. Maybe it's not that close, because we don't know how long it took them to get to the One Piece and then report back to the original world. Because the first person they dropped off, it was Roger. And then Roger spent some time with Ace's baby mama, which was about a year. So I really would like to know what kept Roger from finding the ancient kingdom, at least, because if Roger could have found the One Piece, he must have been capable of getting the ancient kingdom back to the world. So yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll do the stream about the ancient kingdom. Until then, Ratichi, appreciate the support. You made the stream possible. I wouldn't stayed around this long if it wasn't for you. So really appreciate your support. The coming war is gonna be in different places. Roger was laughing because he was hearing the story from Joy Boy. Always she like that point is just Roger. I think Roger has seen enough stories at this point. At the point of last tale, Roger has seen enough stories. I don't want to lie because Roger was Roger read or Roger must have read the most interesting story ever, which is in the Poneglyphs, I believe. And if there is anything that would give Roger a laugh like that, is that your adventure isn't over. I would love to maybe when I think maybe I'm the best swimmer in the world, and then I find out that now I'm not even close. There is someone who I need to beat again. You would laugh at that, but I really think that there was an adventure. But I don't know. Let's save this one for the next stream. But till we meet in the ancient kingdom, because the agenda is about to get real. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And thank you very much for joining the stream, Miss Chance. Oratile. We need to go to the One Piece live action studio, UG. As South Africans, we have no excuse. No excuse. No excuse.